The Galactic Archive Station floated in silent orbit around a dead star. It was a place built for memory, not comfort. Long halls of dark metal held records older than most living species. Very few people visited anymore. Fewer still asked questions. Han Jisoo walked alone through one of the archive corridors. Her footsteps echoed softly. She was a historian by training, but her work lately felt more like grave digging. She specialized in lost civilizations, species that had vanished without clear reason. Most records ended with disease, war, or slow decline. This one was different. The file had no name. Jisoo stopped at a console and activated the archive interface. A soft blue light filled the air. Lines of data appeared, then froze. The system tried again, then displayed a simple warning. Here, species identifier missing. That should have been impossible. Even destroyed species left something behind. A broken word, a symbol, a translation error. Here, there was nothing. Behind her, footsteps approached. Still stuck? Asked Park Johan. Jisoo turned. Johan was the human liaison assigned to the station. He wore a plain uniform, no medals, no marks of rank. His face was calm, but his eyes were always watching. "It's not stuck," Jisoo said. "It's empty. Entirely empty." Johan leaned closer to the screen. "Empty how?" "There should be a name here. At least a sound pattern. But the field is clean, like it was never written." Johan said nothing. That alone made Jisoo uneasy. Lee Era joined them, her boots heavy against the floor. She was security, assigned after Jisoo requested protection. That request had raised questions. "You found something?" Era asked. "I found a hole," Jisoo said. "A deliberate one." Era frowned. "Archives don't forget by accident." Jisoo nodded. "Exactly." She scrolled down. Dates appeared, locations, star systems. The species had existed for thousands of cycles. They traded. They fought small wars. They signed treaties. And then, suddenly, the record ended. The final note was short. "Human response authorized." Era crossed her arms. "Authorized by who?" "The old Galactic Council," Jisoo said. "Back when humans were still considered minor players." Johan exhaled slowly. "That was before my time." "It was before everyone's time," Jisoo replied. "Which makes it strange that you're here." Johan met her gaze. "Humans don't like unfinished files." Jisoo studied him. There was no threat in his voice. No pride. Just a simple statement. She opened another section. A warning appeared, old and rarely used. "Access restricted. Human-only clearance." Era looked at Johan. "You want to explain that?" Johan placed his hand on the console. The system recognized him instantly. Locks vanished. "I didn't know this file existed," he said. "But I know why it's sealed." The screen changed. Old council recordings appeared. Blurred faces. Voices filled with tension. The unnamed species was shown in early contact footage. Tall, sharp-featured beings, confident, smiling as they spoke of superiority. Their leaders laughed during council sessions. They spoke of humans as short-lived, emotional, easy to control. Jisoo felt her stomach tighten. "They studied us," she said quietly. "Yes," Johan replied. "Without consent." The footage shifted. A human colony appeared. Small, peaceful. Then images cut to chaos. Buildings burned. Civilians restrained. The unnamed species spoke calmly as they experimented, as if explaining a lesson. Era clenched her fists. "Why wasn't this stopped?" "Because humans asked for talks first," Johan said. Another recording played. A man stood before the council. His name tag read Choi Dae-hyun. His voice was steady. We request immediate sanctions, he said, and the return of our people. Laughter followed. The unnamed species refused. They called it research. The recording ended. Jisoo swallowed. What happened to him? Johann did not answer right away. He switched to a classified log. Public execution. Confirmed. Silence filled the hall. For 10 years after that, Johann said. Humans said nothing. Era looked confused. No protests? No war? No messages at all, Johann said. Borders closed. Fleets disappeared from public scanners. Other species thought we were afraid. Jisoo stared at the empty name field. And this species? Johann's voice remained calm. They continued. They expanded. They mocked the silence. The archive showed star maps. Dots vanished one by one. Supply routes failed. Data networks collapsed. Worlds went dark, not from explosions, but from sudden loss of power and connection. There are no battle records, Jisoo whispered. There were no witnesses, Johann replied. Era shook her head. You're saying the war happened where no one could see it? Yes, Johann said. That was the point. Jisoo felt cold. Why erase their name? Johann finally looked at her fully. Because anger passed. But the lesson needed to stay. Era frowned. Lessons need stories. Not this one, Johann said. Stories invite imitation. The archive dimmed. The file closed itself. Jisoo stepped back. So this species became a gap, Johann said. An absence. Outside the station, the dead star burned quietly, unaware of history. Jisoo understood then why the archive was silent. Some memories were removed not to hide cruelty, but to prevent it, and somewhere deep in the system, the warning remained, simple and untouched. Do not make humans angry. The silence from humanity lasted longer than anyone expected. In the wider galaxy, silence was often weakness. Councils debated it. Traders joked about it. Some species even celebrated it. The unnamed species did more than celebrate. They expanded. Their fleets moved closer to former human borders. Research ships followed. They believed humans had learned their place. Without resistance, they grew bold. On a distant observation post, far from public trade lanes, Captain Kong Sun-woo stood before a wide star map. He did not wear bright colors or symbols of command. His uniform was dark and simple. Around him, officers spoke quietly, each focused on their task. Sun-woo listened more than he spoke. A young analyst finished her report. Enemy supply routes updated. 3 main hubs support their outer colonies. All routes depend on the same jump network. Sun-woo nodded. And their defenses? Strong near population centers. Weak around data relays and logistics. Sun-woo allowed himself a short breath. As expected, this was not a public fleet. No flags, no open signals. Every ship had its transponder removed or altered. To the galaxy, they did not exist. In another section of the command ship, Moon Si-rin worked alone. She sat surrounded by open systems and flowing code. She was not a soldier by choice. She was an engineer, chosen because she solved problems others avoided. Her task was simple to describe and hard to imagine. Break their movement. She studied the jump network of the unnamed species. It was advanced, but rigid, designed for efficiency, not survival. She smiled faintly. Too clean, she murmured. She began writing changes. Small ones, invisible ones. A delay here, a misalignment there. Nothing that looked like an attack. Nothing that would raise alarms. The first failure happened near a minor supply world. A cargo fleet failed to arrive. The delay was blamed on equipment error. Then another. Then a whole route collapsed. On council channels, The unnamed species complained loudly. They accused merchants. They accused arrivals. They never accused humans. At the same time, human diplomats remained silent. No statements. No warnings. No denials. Park. Johann watched these events from the archive station. He reviewed reports as they arrived, each marked with heavy security. Han Jisoo stood nearby, reading older records. They're panicking, Jisoo said. Yes, Johann replied. But they don't know why yet. Jisoo looked at him. Is this revenge? Johann shook his head. No, revenge is loud. This is removal. She did not like how calm he sounded. Back at the front, Sun Wu received confirmation. The first phase was complete. No ships destroyed. No weapons fired. The enemy was stranded. With supply lines broken. Colonies struggled. Power systems failed. Data centers lost updates. Medical shipments arrived too late or not at all. The unnamed species tried to adapt. They sent engineers. Humans followed, not with guns, but with listening devices and silent drones. When repair ships arrived, they found systems already changed. Familiar controls behaved differently. Old commands caused shutdowns. Moon Si-rin adjusted her work carefully. She did not rush. Every failure was meant to look natural. Fear grows faster when it has no face, she said during a private report. Sun Wu agreed. Then came the first direct contact an enemy patrol encountered. A human ship near a dark system. The human vessel did not flee. It did not fire. It simply adjusted course and vanished from sensors. The patrol reported it as a glitch. Sun Wu watched the recording. They still think we are ghosts. Let them, said Admiral Yoon Tae-min over a secure channel. His image was old, steady, and serious. Ghosts don't trigger war declarations. The Admiral's orders were clear. No open battles. No chance for stories. The unnamed species finally attempted diplomacy. A message was sent to the old council channels, demanding explanation. They accused humanity of sabotage. They demanded talks. The message was received. It was not answered. Instead, a new phase began. Human teams targeted memory. Cultural hubs. Historical archives. Education centers. Not with bombs, but with data corruption. Records were altered slightly. Dates shifted. Names failed to load. Children asked questions teachers could not answer. What was our first world? What does our name mean? No one knew. Fear spread inside their society. Sun Wu watched reports of internal unrest. They're turning on each other? Yes, Tae-min replied. They always do. Moon Si-rin hesitated during one update. We're crossing a line. Tae-min's voice remained calm. They crossed it first. Si-rin nodded and continued. On the archive station, Jisoo felt uneasy. You're not just defeating them, she said to Johann. You're unmaking them. Johann did not deny it. They wanted to understand us. This is what humans do when understanding fails. Jisoo closed her eyes briefly. Will anyone remember this? Yes, Johann said. Just not by name. As the unnamed species struggled, one of their leaders made a final decision. They would strike a human outpost. A show of strength. A reminder that they were still dangerous. The fleet never arrived. Their jump point collapsed mid-transfer. Ships were lost between systems, torn apart by forces they did not understand. For the first time, panic became terror. Sun Wu stood as the report ended. Begin containment. He ordered. Human fleets moved in. Silent, precise, surrounding worlds without, announcing presence. The war was no longer hidden from those inside it, but to the galaxy. It was still invisible, and the unnamed species finally understood the truth. Humans had not gone quiet because they were afraid. They had gone quiet because they were busy. By the time the unnamed species realized they were at war, the war had already passed its middle. Their fleets still existed, their weapons still worked, but nothing fit together anymore. Orders arrived late or not at all. Maps contradicted each other. Old codes failed. Inside one of their core worlds, leaders gathered in a tall chamber filled with flickering displays. Voices overlapped. Accusations filled the air. "They are attacking us without attacking us," one leader said. "That is impossible," another replied. "War requires force." A third slammed a limb against the table. "Then explain why our worlds are starving." No one answered. Far beyond that chamber, in deep space where light barely reached, human ships moved with purpose. They did not rush. They did not chase. They waited, watched, and closed paths when needed. Admiral Yoon Tae-min observed the operation from a command station hidden inside an asteroid field. He had fought wars in his youth. This one felt different. "There is no front," an officer said quietly. Tae-min nodded. "That means there is no retreat." Captain Kang Sun-woo stood beside him. "Enemy fleets are regrouping near their inner systems." "They want a battle," Tae-min said. "Yes, and we won't give them one." Sun-woo understood. A battle could be remembered. A victory could be studied. What humans were doing now could not be copied. Moon Se-rin worked in silence, her eyes tired but focused. She had begun to see patterns in the chaos she created. Each collapse caused smaller failures. Each failure spread doubt. "They are losing trust in their own systems," she reported. "That is the goal," Tae-min replied. "A weapon you don't trust is already gone." On the archive station, Han Ji-soo felt the weight of history pressing down on her. She watched fragments of reports, each one showing decline without open destruction. "They're dying slowly," she said. Double quotes, "Yes," Park Yo-han answered. "Fast deaths create martyrs." Ji-soo looked at him sharply. "And slow ones?" "They create silence." Within the unnamed species, that silence grew loud. Colonies stopped responding. Ships returned to find worlds empty, not destroyed, but abandoned. People fled systems they no longer understood. Some tried to escape into neutral space. Human patrols guided them away, not toward safety, but toward containment zones, places where they could no longer spread stories or warnings. Sun-Woo watched one such movement. "We are hurting them." "Yes," Tae-min said. "Into history." A young officer hesitated. "Sir, is this right?" Tae-min looked at him. "They asked what humans would do if pushed. This is the answer." The unnamed species made one final attempt to fight back. They launched a coordinated strike using everything they had left. Energy weapons flared across space. For the first time, sensors across the galaxy detected combat, but the targets were empty. Human fleets were never there. The attack drained their remaining power. Systems failed. Shields dropped, and the humans appeared. Not everywhere. Only where needed. Sun-Woo led the advance into a major command system. Human ships emerged from dark space, precise and controlled. They disabled weapons, cut power, and locked communication channels. No messages were sent. No demands were made. The unnamed species waited for surrender, terms that never came. Inside the command ship, Se-rin paused as she accessed the core memory network of the species. It held everything: language, art, names. "This is it," she whispered. Tae-min's voice came through the channel. "Proceed." She hesitated only once. Then she began. The deletion was not violent. Files vanished quietly. References broke. Links led nowhere. Names failed to load. Songs lost words. Across their worlds, people felt something missing, but could not explain what. Children asked elders questions. What are we called? Elders had no answer. Jisoo watched this unfold in horror and awe. You're erasing them. Johann stood beside her. We are ending the threat by removing their memory? Yes, he said. A species without identity cannot rise again. Within days, the unnamed species collapsed inward. Governments failed. Fleets powered down. Worlds stopped coordinating. The galaxy noticed something strange. Systems once marked by that species became quiet. Trade lanes reopened under human guidance. New markers appeared, labeled only with numbers. Other species asked questions. Humans gave none. Sun-Wu received the final report. Enemy resistance had ended, not with surrender, but with confusion. No central command remained. It's over, he said. Tae-Min nodded. Begin withdrawal. What about records? They will remain incomplete, Tae-Min said. As intended. On the archive station, the unnamed file grew lighter. Data thinned. References faded. Jisoo realized with a chill that she was watching history being edited in real time. Is there anything left? She asked. Yohan checked the system. Enough to warn. Not enough to remember. Jisoo sat down slowly. Future generations will think this was a myth. Johann looked at the darkened screen. Good. Far away, the last organized fleet of the unnamed species powered down its engines. Crews waited for orders that never came. Their leaders could not even remember the words for command. The war ended without celebration. No victory songs were written. No monuments built. Only an empty space in the records. Growing wider by the day. And across the galaxy. A quiet understanding began to form. Some enemies are defeated. Others are removed. The galaxy did not celebrate when the unnamed species fell. There were no loud announcements, no victory speeches, no clear end date. Instead, there was confusion. Trade maps changed quietly. Old borders vanished. New human patrol routes appeared without explanation. Many species pretended not to notice. Those who did notice chose silence. On a calm world near the old conflict zone, Admiral Yoon Tae-Min walked alone along a wide observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before him. The war was finished, but his face showed no relief. Captain Kang Sun-Woo joined him. Final containment reports are in. Tae-Min nodded. Any organized resistance? No, Sun-Woo replied. Only scattered groups. They don't know who they are anymore. Tae-Min closed his eyes for a moment. Then it's time. Sun-Woo understood what that meant. The last phase had never been about fleets or systems. It was about memory. Across human-controlled networks, a silent command activated. It did not destroy data. It corrected it. Where the unnamed species had once been referenced, the system replaced words with gaps. Sentences broke. Names refused to load. Libraries across the galaxy experienced small errors. Teachers paused. Mid-lesson. Historians frowned at missing. Citations. Han Jisoo felt it immediately. Was reviewing archived counsel. Records when lines of text faded before her eyes. Not erased, but softened, as if they had never been certain to begin with. This isn't damage, she whispered. Park Johann stood nearby. No, it's resolution. Jisoo turned to him. You're changing shared history. Johann met her gaze. We're removing a dangerous reference. She shook her head slowly. Other species will ask questions. They already are, Johann said. And they are already learning the answer. Elsewhere, Beak Haniel sat before a council of human ethicists. Her role was not to judge guilt, but to decide how the ending would be remembered. If we leave their name, she said calmly, someone will look them up. Someone will admire their strength. Someone will repeat their mistakes. A council member asked, "And if we remove it completely?" "Then they become a warning without details," Haniel replied. Fear works best when it has no shape. The vote passed without celebration. On a broken world once ruled by the unnamed species, survivors gathered around dim lights. Their technology still functioned, but their society did not. Records were incomplete. Commands failed. A child asked an elder, "Who were we?" The elder opened his mouth and found nothing. Fear replaced anger. Without identity, they could not unite. Without unity, they could not fight. Human relief ships arrived weeks later, not as conquerors, but as caretakers. They provided food, medical aid, and basic systems. They did not stay. They did not speak of the past. Sun-Wu watch one such operation. They don't even hate us anymore. Tae Min answered, "Hate needs a target." As humans withdrew, something else happened. Other species began changing their behavior. Military expansions slowed. Aggressive research programs ended quietly. Treaties once treated as jokes were suddenly respected. No official explanation was given, but everyone noticed the same thing. One species had crossed a line. That species was gone. In the archive station, Jisoo tried one last time to recover the missing name. She used old backups, deep scans, even broken fragments from pre-war systems. The result was always the same. Nothing. Not even an error. "It's like they never existed," she said. Yohan corrected her gently. "They existed. They mattered. That's why this happened." Jisoo looked at him. "Do humans regret it?" Johan considered the question. "We regret being forced to choose." She nodded slowly. Far away, the last formal record of the unnamed species was reviewed by Admiral Tae Min. It contained no name, no image, and no final words. He approved its closure. The galaxy moved on. New stories were told. New conflicts rose and fell. Humans returned to trade, diplomacy, and cooperation. To most, they seemed calm and reasonable. But sometimes, during quiet council meetings, an older delegate would pause and say nothing when a human spoke. Others would notice, and they would remember the rule. Even if they did not know its origin. Do not push humans too far, because when humans become angry, they do not shout. They erase the problem. And when they are done, there is nothing left to remember. Time moved forward, as it always did. New roots formed. New alliances rose. The galaxy learned to breathe again after a war it never officially saw. On the Galactic Archive Station, Han Jisoo returned to the nameless file one last time. She had avoided it for years. Other work had filled her days, but the empty space stayed with her. Like a word on the tip of the mind that never came, the file opened instantly. Still, no name. No image, only fragments. She scrolled slowly, careful not to rush. There were notes about trade disruptions, about sudden silence in certain regions, about human patrols appearing and then fading away. There was the old warning, still intact. Do not make humans angry. Jisoo leaned back and closed her eyes. She remembered how frightened she had been when she first learned the truth. Now the fear felt different. It was quieter, sharper. Footsteps echoed behind her. Park. Johan stopped a short distance away. His hair showed hints of gray now. His uniform was the same simple design. "You came back," he said. "I had to," Jisoo replied. "This file changed history." Johan nodded. "It kept history from repeating." Jisoo looked at him. "Other species still ask me what happened. They want details. And what do you tell them?" "The truth," she said. "That the name no longer exists." Johan gave a faint smile. "That is the safest answer. Elsewhere, in a council chamber filled with delegates from many worlds, a debate unfolded. A young representative spoke loudly, frustrated. "We must review human military doctrine," the delegate said. "Their capabilities are unclear. Their past actions are undocumented." An older delegate raised a hand. "That is exactly why we should be careful. Fear is not policy," the younger one replied. The elder leaned forward. "Fear kept us alive." The room fell silent. No one mentioned the missing species. They did not need to. On a quiet human world far from politics, Moon Se-rin walked along a shoreline, watching waves roll in. She no longer worked on weapons or systems. Her hands still remembered the code, though. Sometimes she dreamed of vanishing words and broken names. A child ran past her. Laughing, she smiled, then looked out at the sea. "We did the right thing," she whispered, unsure who she was speaking to. Not far away, Captain Kang Sun-woo stood at a memorial that had no names carved into it. Just a smooth surface, facing the stars. Only a few people knew it existed. He stood there in silence. There was nothing to celebrate, only something to remember without remembering. Admiral Yoon Tae-min spent his final years teaching strategy to young officers. He did not speak about that war unless asked directly. When a student once asked, "Sir, why are some conflicts missing from the records?" Tae-min answered, "Because winning is not always the goal." The student looked confused. "Sometimes," Tae-min continued, "survival is enough." The unnamed species still existed in a limited way. Small groups lived under human protection, scattered and quiet. They had new identifiers, new symbols, new routines. They never spoke of the past. They could not. Without a shared name, they became individuals instead of a threat. Human aid kept them alive. Human distance kept them harmless. The galaxy accepted this balance. Years later, a young archivist approached Jisoo with excitement. "I found something," the archivist said. "A reference to a lost species. It's incomplete, but—" Jisoo gently interrupted. "Does it have a name?" The archivist hesitated. "No." "Then close the file," Jisoo said. "But shouldn't we restore it?" Jisoo shook her head. "Some gaps protect us." The archivist slowly nodded and walked away. Johann watched from a distance. "You've learned," he said. "I had good teachers," Jisoo replied. Outside the station, ships passed peacefully through space. Human vessels moved among them, unmarked and calm. To many. Humans were traders, mediators, builders. Only a few remembered something else. In forgotten council logs, in broken data fragments, in instincts passed down through generations. A quiet rule survived. Humans could forgive. Humans could wait. But if pushed beyond mercy, they would not destroy worlds to make a point. They would destroy certainty. They would remove names. They would leave behind silence where arrogance once stood. And that was why no one recalled the last species that made humans angry, not because it was unimportant, but because remembering it was too dangerous. The galaxy remained at peace, not through strength alone, but through the shared understanding that some lines should never be crossed. And somewhere, deep in the archives, an empty space continued to exist. Unlabeled, untouched. A warning without words.